Welcome back. It's been a while since we've done a video, but we're back at it. But don't think we haven't been doing anything. We've been doing little jobs behind the scenes here, and we're going to sort of give you a catch-up video on what's been accomplished and what we've done, and sort of what our plans are and what's going to sort of fall out in the near future. You can see from the table here, and you may have seen some of this stuff before. I did get most of the steering, most of the little minutia of the steering rebuilt and reconditioned. The steering boxes here these are both the same, and they're both kind of heavy. They both have, I think, I can't tell, C7 casting number. But the thing that really differentiates them is the tag right here. One's a C7, one's a C9. They're both the SMBK box. They have different build dates, but they are 16-to-1, which is what was used on the Mustang with power steering. If it was manual steering, I think it was like a 21-to-1, which certainly made turning the car easier without power steering. But these are rebuilt. The bearings have been not replaced because I don't have the tool to replace the bearings, but I did not detect any side motion in the Pitman shaft with it in there, so I just took the bearings out, washed them, re-greased them, reinstalled them, installed a seal. This one was already done, but I did this one. I did this one earlier. New seal in the bottom, new seal here, new gasket on top, and then there's a process to actually adjust these based on torque reading through the range of steering, and it varies. I think it's 4 to 5 and 9 to 10 on center. But anyway, both of these are adjusted, so I don't know why I got two. But anyway, drag link's done, just cleaned up. The control valve has been disassembled and cleaned and reassembled with new seals and new gaskets and adjusted. There's an adjustment here on the end, and of course you want some you want it to be fairly tense right here, so you want no slack in the steering. But it's been cleaned, and it'll once the pressure lines up to it, it'll work fine. And those pressure lines, they come from the pump, go back to the pump, but they also go to the steering ram, which is this is the non-integral part of power steering for this car. And this hooks up to this, I think right here, yeah, and it pushes it back and forth. And you'll see two of these too. And the reason is I had an old one of these that did not have a dent on the side of it. And you'll see right here, there's a little dent right there. Now I don't think that affects the functionality of it, but dent or no dent, you'll take the one without the dent. So as I took this down, I noticed the last seal in there did not come all the way out, and it was terrible. I think I got it all out, but I wasn't sure. So what I did is I ordered another kit and rebuilt the one with the dent, and it worked fine. So I will probably use the one with the bellows and the mounting stuff on it. You'll also see some of the other stuff that I've done. Not a lot's changed right here. The end caps I did buff sand down. Took some of the primer off of them with some bare metal. So everything that's black here, not the new stuff, but everything that's black, we'll see in a second, has been shot with a self-etching primer by Sims. I did strip all the paint off the hood. It was bare metal, and as I'm looking at it, I think it came, of course, when I got the car, it had a hood scoop. And here's the hood scoop right here. And with a little luck, I can just fit it in. This is a factory Ford hood scoop. I don't think these were factory on the car. I really don't. Fits on it like that. Well, like that. Has the 3-to-1 emblem here. It looks nice. And it will come off here in a second. But the thing that makes me think that it's a factory Ford scoop. I bought another one, aftermarket, and when it came, it wasn't what I expected to be, so I sent it back. But anyway, the reason I don't think this was a factory, although it had the lights, turn signals, and everything in it, the holes look kind of roughly drilled. Some are bigger than the others. The opening right here, where you actually service the lights or the turn signals from underneath the hood, they kind of crudely cut. I don't know if Ford did this on the assembly line or not. At any rate, I believe this may have been added at some point, probably early in the car's life, and they went to Ford and bought the scoop, which was fairly inexpensive then, and just drilled the holes. It's going back. I was going to paint the hood black, although it's black now. This is just self-etching primer, which is a special primer that goes on it that bonds with the metal, so it won't be flaking off later. There'll actually be a sealant or a 2K urethane sealant put on this, and that'll be scuffed up, and then the hood will be painted its original blue, along with the scoop, which I'm going to sand off. I use paint remover on this, which you put it on there and you leave it, come back an hour, and the paint's all wrinkled up. This car had a lot of clear on it at the time, so it would wrinkle up a layer of clear, then it'd wrinkle up a layer of color. It took a long time to get it cleared. I took a razor blade and went all over it and scraped it off. So it was totally bare metal on the top. Underneath, you can't see it, but underneath is been painted. So this will wind up being the color of the car, as the scoop is. I had originally thought about putting the Mach 1 blackout on the hood, but I decided against that after some thought, and so it'll all be the same color. So we got it upside down. This is the part that was not painted. I don't know if this was ever painted when the car was repainted. So I believe this is the original color hue that came on the car. So you'll see it's kind of dirty. And I see some rust right here, little pinhole rust. It's not a big deal. I don't see that there. Same way over here. You can see the little things right here, the little offsets. See them? Right there. They're drains, and they get clogged up with debris that gets in under here, gets in through here, whatever, and they stop that. So I'll blow those out, and then I'll repair this. I'll grind it down and repair those little pinhole rust places. At that point, I'll take some probably 240 after I clean, like right here, it's grease, dirt. I'll clean all this up and prime underneath here too. I won't need to use any self-etching primer because I won't go deep enough to really hit a lot of metal. But I'll put some primer on it so the next coat of paint has something good to stick to. But anyway, that's sort of, and I'll do the same underneath the deck lid too. The deck lid doesn't have any rust on it. Also, to prep the car for paint, the cowl right here, it had paint on it. All that was stripped off too. They went down to bare metal. Getting in these little vents right here are very hard, but clean them out. So it went down to bare metal, and it was coated again with Sim's self-etching primer. Same way for the deck lid. You can buy repo deck lids, and they're not that expensive, but they don't come with the holes on the back for the pins for the letters, so you're apt to get some misalignment there. And I just went ahead and just said, well, I'll spend the time and effort to strip all the paint. So all this went down to bare metal, and likewise underneath of it there is some paint, but that'll be scuffed up and recoated in body color too. The one thing I'll say, there's a little filler panel for the front apron. Same thing was done with that, down to bare metal. One thing I did, is the front valence, which it was painted Ford the Acapulco Blue, and that's the color it came. And I think I've moved that to the other garage because once I took it down, a lot of Bondo in it had been really worked on. So I was not comfortable putting that back on the car. And I looked up the price. You can get a repo one for mid-90s. So for less than $100, I bought a new one. It'll be here probably next week, Tuesday, this coming week. And we'll see how it fits. I also have the old one so I can go back to it if necessary, if it's just a catastrophe. But the new one, hopefully, the reviews were good. It fit well in their estimation. So we'll see what it'll do. I can always take it back if it doesn't. Anyway, so that's going to do all the body work on the car. So I have two things to actually do. The Dutchman panel, which is the part right behind the back glass, right before you hit the hood, the deck lid right here. That needs to be scuffed, stripped, or whatever. And the roof. I don't want to do a lot of sanding up there because I don't want to put a lot of heat in it. Sometimes you'll see a buckle occur. But the roof's in great shape. I may just use the DA sander and take it down, or just use some paint remover on it. But if you look behind you right here, the dreaded undercoating is gone. I really, that undercoating, it works wonders. It got me to work on a fence around the house. It got me to do a lot of little jobs because I just did not want to mess on this on the undercoating. But finally, I got all the undercoating off, and I actually used some paint remover on that. It softened it up a little bit, and I got it off. I tried everything. Oven cleaner, nah, doesn't work. I tried heat, helps maybe a little bit. But the paint remover helped. I used a lot of steel wool, not steel wool pads, these stainless steel scrubber pads for grills. You can buy them on Amazon. I used those. It was a messy thing to do. I don't wish it on anybody. But it's all off. I found a red oxide undercoating that matched the color that was under the undercoating that I scraped off, because the front part of the car is all new. It was basically from this part right here back that needed the undercoating. And as little as that is, it was just a terrible job. But it's off, it's painted, it looks good. And I've done some sealing on the back of it, some seams, so I think we're going to be fine here. Right now, getting the rockers sanded and trimmed out as the door jambs, and we'll go from there. We'll get the front sanded and the front cowl section underneath the vent thing, so it'll look nice. And we're getting it ready to take it to paint. So that's the process there. One of the little things I did while I was avoiding and putting off the undercoating debacle was I broke down the rear end. You can see the rear end over there. The third member is out of it. I've not done any degreasing. The third member is in my parts washer. I got a little parts washer and let it soak. It had the front seal was leaking on it terribly, and it just a mess. I'll scrape this off, and I may take it out and sandblast it, paint it black again, and get it ready to go. But one thing I did do was I got the transmission, took it apart, not it apart. I took the cover off of it, put the front retainer off of it, and the tail shaft came off of it, and everything looked fine. I drained the fluid, or the transmission gear lube, out of it, and it looked fine. So I'm going to assume that the inside of the transmission is in good shape. Ford top loaders are very robust transmissions. And I could look back into the blocker rings, and I could see that there really wasn't hardly any wear on the blocker rings, which are little teeth that align the synchronizers up as you go into gear. So having the very limited experience inside of a top loader. I've taken 2 or 3 of these apart and put them back together. It looked fine to me. It may not be. We'll find out later. But I painted it, the cast iron coat, and I got the shifter, which was a Ford factory shifter. You can see down here under the boot, you can see some grease, and you can also see the wiring for the reverse switch. But these have a very unique spring in them that holds them in position, and when you put them into reverse, it puts an extra little push on it, a detent spring. It was fairly a flimsy spring when it was designed, and they broke readily. The 68 big block shifter, which is a little different, has a different way of doing it, which is a better. I have one of those. I bought one of those online. Wait a minute, right here. There you go. Took it apart, lubed it, checked the spring, tightened it up. When I got it, it was assembled wrong, but it's and I got a bolt going through it to sort of center it into neutral. But it will work in its place. It works the same way. The shifter I bought, the shift rods are different because it was a big block car, longer tail shaft, and therefore they will not fit on this one. But the shifter is essentially the same thing. So that being said, this shifter was a little kind of on the expensive side, but a lot less than putting a Hurst on it. And because I got this one will work fine. That's my experience in this. So I got it perched on top of a transmission jack, and that's what I'll use to actually install it. The bell housings over there, it's cast iron. Clutch is right here, which I'll replace as the mid plate will be cleaned and painted. And then we'll use some dowels to come out off the back of the bell housing and guide this in to line up with the clutch, the new clutch that'll be on the back of the engine. That'll be done from underneath the car. Not a fun thing to do, but before I bought a transmission jack, I used to do it manually, so it's a lot better than it used to be. And I was a lot younger too. So anyway, that's where we're at. Hopefully we're getting the car closer to getting it into paint. At that point, it'll work out about right. I think while it is being worked on in paint, I'll have some time to take the seats, which are over here, and get them out in the sun, get the upholstery off of them, get the new upholstery installed with the new foam and everything, and then we'll bag them up and they'll be set and ready to go. The brakes are done, the transmission's done, the rear end it'll be a couple weeks it'll be done. The gear came with a 300 open axle. I want something a little better, not better, a little more to my suiting. I was thinking about a 350 rear gear. Could not find a Ford gear, but I did find a Ford 325 gear, and I'll probably put that on it because I'll change the bearings on each side of the differential and the pinion of the third member anyway, and get that set up and adjusted. Anyway, that's where we're at right now. I do want to appreciate you watching, and if you're back, thanks for sticking with us. I know it's been a while since we've done a video, but some little things have been going on sort of in the background. And as we get the car into paint, get it back from paint, start putting it back together, we'll go into to more detail. Thanks again. I do appreciate you, and please subscribe and hit the like button. Let us know if you got any comments. Please put them down below. I'll try to respond to each one as I can. Thanks again. Thanks for watching. Come on. Trying to bite me?